Did you know being too good at your job is actually the fastest way to get stuck in it? Sounds crazy, right? Because your whole life you've been told, work hard, be the best, go above and beyond. But what if I told you that the people getting promoted aren't the hardest workers? They're not even the smartest. They're just playing a completely different game. And if you don't realize this early, you'll wake up one day, overworked, undervalued, and completely stuck, while the average guy you trained is now your boss. So the real question is, if being great at your job isn't the answer, then what is? Let's zoom in for a second. Imagine this. There are two employees. One of them shows up early, leaves late, handles everything, fixes problems, never complains. The second one does their job, but nothing extra, leaves on time, talks to people, joins random meetings, sometimes even says, "I'll get back to you." Now let me ask you something. Who do you think deserves a promotion? Exactly. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. That first person, the high performer, they almost never get promoted. And the reason why is something most companies will never say out loud. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's the first trap. The better you are, the more work you get. Not more money, not more recognition, just more work. Think about it. When something goes wrong, who gets called? You. When a deadline is tight, who gets the extra task? You. When someone else messes up, who fixes it? You again. You're sitting at your desk. It's 6:47 p.m. Everyone else has left. Your screen is still glowing. Another urgent message drops in. Hey, can you quickly handle this? Quickly. It's never quick. But here's what nobody tells you. Why do they keep giving you the work? Because you made a mistake. Not a bad mistake. A smart mistake. You showed them you can handle it. And once a company sees that, they stop solving the problem. They assign it to you. Now, this is where it gets dangerous. You don't just become useful. You become necessary. And that sounds good until you realize what it really means. If your boss cannot replace you, they cannot promote you. Let that sink in. Imagine you're running a team. There's one guy holding everything together, fixing issues, training others, saving deadlines. Now be honest. Would you promote that person and risk everything falling apart? Or would you keep them exactly where they are and give them just enough praise to stay? That's the trap. You don't get stuck because you're bad. You get stuck because you're too valuable where you are. So now the real question becomes, if working harder is the problem, what are the average employees doing differently? This is where things flip, because average employees aren't actually average. They're just optimizing for something else. Capacity. You're buried in tasks. Back-to-back work. No breathing space. They're having coffee chats, talking to managers, learning new tools, updating their LinkedIn. You're producing. They're positioning. And here's the twist. The company doesn't promote output. They promote visibility. Think about this. When was the last time your boss saw your effort instead of just your results? Now let's talk about the real killer. Performing at 100%. Sounds like a good thing, right? It's not, because 100% effort on your current job leaves you with 0% for your future. Your day looks like this. Tasks, emails, fixing problems, more tasks. By the time you're done, you're exhausted. No time to learn. No time to network. No time to grow. Now here's the part most people don't expect. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to give 100%. In fact, that's exactly what's holding you back. There's a concept called the 80% rule, and it might just save your career. Instead of giving everything to your current role, you give enough to stay respected, and you protect the rest for building your next move. But how do you actually do that without getting fired or looking lazy? That's where it gets interesting. Before I show you how to escape this, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt like your reward for doing a great job was just more work? If yes, drop a yes in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to start playing this game the right way, hit subscribe. Because most people are still stuck playing by rules that don't work anymore. All right, now let's talk about the part they don't teach you. How to stop being too good without destroying your career. So, how do you stop being too good at your job without getting fired, without looking lazy, and without destroying your reputation? Because let's be honest, you can't just wake up tomorrow and start doing the bare minimum. That's career suicide. So what's the move? It's not about doing less. It's about doing things differently, strategically. And once you understand this, everything changes. The first strategy is something I call artificial friction, and it's simple but powerful. Let's say a task takes you 2 hours, but the deadline is 2 days. Right now, you finish it immediately. Send it in. And what happens? You get more work. But what if you didn't? Instead, you hold it. Not because you're lazy, but because you're smart. You use that extra time to learn something new, build a skill, or position yourself for your next move. Then, you submit the work on time. Clean, accurate, professional. No one complains. But everything changes, because now you're no longer rewarding the system for overloading you. You're controlling your pace. Think about it like this. If you always reply instantly, people think you have no life grinning face with sweat. The moment you take your time, suddenly you look important, busy, in demand. Funny how that works. Now, let's talk about the second strategy. And this one is a game changer. Soft boundaries. Your boss says, "Hey, can you take this on?" Old you, "Sure, no problem." New you? You say this, "I can take that on, but which of my current priorities should I deprioritize?" That one sentence changes everything, because now you're not saying no, you're forcing them to decide. You're showing awareness, control, professionalism, and most importantly, you're making your workload visible. You don't have to fight. You don't have to argue. You just stop absorbing everything silently. Watch what happens next. They pause. They think. And sometimes they say, "Actually, let's hold off on that." And you start to realize how much extra work you were taking on for no reason. Now here's the biggest shift of all. You need to stop being the engine and start becoming the navigator. Right now, you're doing invisible work. Important? Yes. Recognized? Not really. Fixing bugs, handling tasks, cleaning up problems. That keeps things running. But it doesn't get you promoted. Promotion comes from visible impact, speaking in meetings, sharing ideas, leading small initiatives, not just doing work, but being seen doing meaningful work. Ask yourself this. If you disappeared for a week, would people notice your effort or just your output? Start small. Speak once in every meeting. Share one idea per week. Update people on what you're doing, not to brag, but to be visible. Instead of staying silent on a call, you say, "I've been working on something that might improve this process." That's it. That's how it starts. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to stop hiding your value. Because if you don't, you'll stay exactly where you are, working harder, getting tired, watching others move ahead. Here's a hard truth, and it might sting a little. Your company will replace you in 2 weeks if you leave. All those late nights, all that extra effort, all the times you said yes when you should have paused. It feels important, but to the system, it's just expected. So don't sacrifice your future for a role that sees you as replaceable. Be good at your job. Be reliable. Be respected. But never be so good that you become stuck in a position you've already outgrown. If you're ready to stop being the workhorse and start moving like someone who actually gets ahead, then you need to watch this next video, because I'll show you exactly how to increase your income without even asking for a raise. Click it now. I'll see you there.